Hey everybody, this is Andrew with the We Are Rizin podcast. With us, we got Sergio Pettis, who will be taking on Kyoji Horiguchi at Rizin 47. You can catch it on Rizin.tv. Sergio, thank you so much for your time, brother. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for having me, brother. Very excited to come out there to Japan and perform for Rizin. Big fight coming up.
First of all, I believe you just got married, correct?
Yes, sir. Yep, just got married
Congrat-
about 3 months ago. So
Congratulations on that.
thank you. Appreciate it.
How is married life versus the fiance single bachelor life?
Man, I mean, the single bachelor life is obviously way different from all that, but I've been with my lady for about 8 years, so yeah, pretty much throughout my whole 20s. It's been amazing, man. There's no different from being married to pretty much living with each other past 7.5 years. So no big difference. Just if we argue, there's a little bit more to lose. So I try to stay away from the arguments.
Do you have to now that you're married, is it now do you have to do any like is your life now is she saying like I want you to train less, I don't want you to spar as hard, I don't want you to get hurt? Is there anything like that going on?
No, not at all, man. She knows what she signed up for, and she's been around pretty much my whole career, to be honest. Since I was 22 years old. So yeah, she knows what she's on the road for, and she supports me everything that I do. So yeah, very very thankful to have her, and thankful that she's very supportive towards my career.
Because it does seem sometimes with some fighters that once they get married or they have kids, I guess that thing in their brain that made them competitive, and it seems to sometimes go away. Have you noticed that at all happening with you, or nothing of that sort?
I would say my last fight is where I felt it. More of a prepping for the wedding. Just kind of had my mind elsewhere. I was just really focused on getting married and not too focused on the task ahead. Where I learned my lesson after that fight. I'm not going to do that again. Obviously my career is important to me, and this is what allows me to have this lifestyle, allows my wife to have the lifestyle that we have. So this is very important for both of us.
So actually, I got a bunch of questions that came in that people want to know your status with Bellator, PFL, whatever. What can you tell us about what your status with Bellator, PFL is at this point?
I mean, honestly, I'm just kind of like everybody else. I'm kind of just kind of going with things, not hearing what's really for certain and what's not. I've been in this situation before with the UFC. I was a 125er, and they were talking about getting rid of the division for a bit. So I was left a little uncertain. So this isn't my first time having that feeling. And I'm not sure what's going on with PFL or Bellator, but I know that they're combining together next year, and I'm with it, man. I'm down to fight forever wherever I go. If I can get a PFL belt, that'd be awesome to add it to the resume. So I'm down for whatever they do.
So you're not a free agent at this point, are you? Or no?
No, I'm not a free agent at the point. I'm still with Bellator. I'm under contract with Bellator. I got 5 fights left with them. So
Gotcha. So let's talk about your fight coming up, rematch against Kyoji. I was there for the first fight. And I'm curious to know when people say you probably heard people say that that you were losing the fight up until the very knockout. Do you think do you feel that sometimes is when you hear that does that this do you consider that kind of like it this whatever it sounds disrespectful to how you won the fight, or does that not bother you?
nah, I think it was disrespectful of how I finished him. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Oh yeah,
hit him with a
yeah.
spinning back fist after him dominating me. I wouldn't say I was, he wasn't whooping my ass. He was just taking me down. He was out MMAing me. He was being smart. He was doing what he was supposed to do, which is stay away from the striking game, take me down, just like all these other guys how they fight me. They don't want to stand up with me. They want to take me down and try to grind me out and get me uncomfortable. So not taking away anything from me. I mean, I think it makes it even better that I was losing and I ended up hitting him with that spinning back fist and knocked him out, put him out cold. It made the fight had a little bit more controversy, and it actually set up for this rematch, which is even better for me. More opportunities. I get to go out to Japan. I get a first time going out to Japan, first time having a rematch, first time a lot of firsts being checked off on this list from that spinning back fist. So, nah, man, I don't think it's downplaying my spinning back fist at all. If anything, it made it better, and it kind of made me a little bit more hungry for this fight. Because I still was, like I said, I was losing 3.5. rounds. And yeah, before that, I was definitely getting frustrated. This time around, I want to make him feel that. I want him to feel frustrated. I got 3 rounds to do it.
So as you know, Kyoji is the Rizin flyweight champion. Was that at all discussed to possibly take him off for the flyweight champion, or was this fight always going to be this non-title bantamweight rematch?
To be honest, it was an opportunity to fight at flyweight. They didn't give me the right amount of time to make the weight, so it was going to be impossible for me. I haven't made flyweight since I was 26 years old. I'm 30 years old now, so it's been 4 years. Not sure how my body would have reacted with that time frame. So if they gave me a little bit more time and they made a date to work, I definitely would have went down to 125 and challenged for the flyweight belt. But it didn't play out as that. So we made some adjustments. 135. Horiguchi deserves his rematch, so I know they really wanted to make that happen, and that's what it is now.
So now you're going, I guess you could say, it's enemy territory. You're going to his town, his promotion, even his fighting arena, because now it's going to be in a ring. Actually, have you ever fought in a ring before?
Yeah, my first pro fight was in Canada. I fought in a ring, so I fought in a ring before, just never under the rules of like Pride rules or Rizin rules. But yeah, so it's been a while, but hey, a fight's a fight, man. It can be in the street, it can be inside of a McDonald's parking lot, it can be anywhere. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're very rough out here. So yeah, man, it don't matter what it is, where it's at, I'm down to fight. Big opportunity. So you can put me in a pit, put me in a backyard, I'll fight wherever I go.
So with a rematch, I'm not going to ask your game plan, but I'm just curious to know how, when you prepare for a rematch, is it is it harder than preparing for the opponent for the first time? Because you kind of have to figure out that your opponents come in extra smarts. And so you don't want them to figure out your game plan. So yeah, how is it like training for a rematch?
It's my first time having a rematch, like I said. So it's definitely yeah, first time in my career having a rematch ever. So it's definitely a little bit different preparation. I've got to fill him out. What in 2021? That was about 3 years ago now. So times have changed. His career's gone one way, my career's gone another way as well. So we both became better fighters, I think, after that fight. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think the game plan is going to be very similar for him and his squad. The ATT crew, they're smart. They know what they're going to do. They're going to go out there and probably try to take me down, probably try to take my back. My last fight, my back got taken, I got submitted. So I know that they're thinking like, oh, Sergio Pettis' ground game isn't as good, and his submission defenses and takedown defenses from the last fight aren't going to be as good. So I think they're going to try to do what they did last fight, and if not, they might just add in a little twist, maybe a little level change with some punches off of it, which I'm prepared for all of it. So I mean, I think if you make it a little bit more extra complicated, things can be more complicated, but simple ain't easy, and I like to keep things simple. So.
So you beat Horiguchi. Would you then be interested in then, given enough time, somewhere down the line, challenging for his Rizin belt?
Yeah, I mean, I think either way, win or lose, it sets up for a trilogy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and especially if I go down and take his belt, that'd be amazing. But yeah, I'm not really looking towards anything else besides June 9th. That's all I care about. I'm a very big present fighter. I'm a day by day person. I don't think months ahead. I don't think months behind. So yeah, I'm not really focused on all of that. What I'm really focused on is Horiguchi, June 9th, going to Japan, putting on a show, showing that I'm better than my first showing with him.
And so, as you know, there will be different rule sets. They allow grounded knees, soccer kicks, that sort of thing. How do you feel about having an environment where you can actually use that type of offense?
I think it's going to be more beneficial towards my game plan and my skill set, to be honest. I've never been able to use these skills or been able to use these rules, so it's going to be a little bit different of a experience, I'm sure, but I think it favors me if I'm able to use my legs off my back and be able to actually kick them in the face off my back, and being able to stomp them, soccer kick them. It opens up the game for both of us, so it's going to be a crazy experience, honestly. Just talking about it gets my heart racing a little bit. It sounds fun. It sounds scary, and you got to risk it to get the biscuit. I always say that you got to risk it to get the biscuit, and yeah, I mean, I'm trying to risk it.
So that's one of the things that's it's always been debate, with unified rules, is that You know, some people like unified rules, some people don't. What do you think that the unified rules eventually should adapt to something like the Rizin rule set, where they do allow knees to the head, soccer kicks?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely adds a different dynamic to the game, and it would be cool for all fighters to have those options. I don't know how much, the crowd would like it as far as like, or like, just like some people might think it's a little too brutal, some people might, not have the right taste for that. So I see why they don't allow it at points, but I think it's dope, man. That's why I took this fight too. I'm like, what? You could soccer kick, you could stomp, like what? This is fun. This is something new, something different. So hey, I'm down for it, and I mean, I think most people would be down for it. It sounds fun.
Hmm. Oh, one of the other unique things about Rizin is that they judges score the fight as a whole, as opposed to round by round by round. Is Do you have any thoughts on that? Is that something? I don't know if you've ever. I don't think you've ever fought a fight with that type of scoring, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I've never fought a fight with that type of scoring at all. So it's gonna be a whole different experience for me. I think it's a cool concept though. Judging the fight as a whole and instead of round by round. I think that's definitely cool, and I think it's easier for the judges to actually like make a call. Because it's kind of hard to remember those round by rounds and like I don't know. I think after fights, you're really able to see who really wins. Like, who wins and who doesn't. Sometimes the judges get it wrong, and you're like, like the round by round rules. So maybe this might be a better route.
Gotcha, gotcha. One of the things I also want to ask as well. Speaking of Bellator, I don't know. Did you happen to see Patchy Mix versus Magomed?
Yeah, I did. I did.
So, what are your thoughts on the judging on that? Everybody seems to have an opinion on it. I'm curious to know your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the fight looked interesting. It looked like Patchy was having a little bit of a rougher night. Like first time being a champion and defending that belt. It's a different feel. You get the nerves, the extra pressure. I know he just got engaged as well, proposed the day before his fight, so I know his mind is probably in some other places as well. And yeah, I mean, you can see Magomedov really wanted that fight. He did some great things, great punches. He hurt Patchy a couple times, made him stumble. If anything, I could see that fight maybe being a draw. Like personally, I thought it could have been a draw. I know a lot of people are taking Magomed's side, and I think he did great. Like I said, I was very impressed with him, especially from the first showing. Patchy, he stays resilient, has a chin on him too. I was very impressed with Patchy's chin. He got hit with some hard shots, kept coming forward. I think that's what really made him win that fight was actually coming forward and trying to like, dictate the pace a little bit. I think Magomed kind of took the round off the last round where Patchy did kind of do better that round overall. Um, I mean, they got it right. The champ's a champ. So, yep.
Yeah, it was actually funny. We were discussing in one of the Risen discords, and we were debating whether if in Rizin it would be a clear win for Patchy or a clear win for Magomed based on the scoring criteria. And we came to the conclusion that yeah, maybe as a whole, Patchy probably won that fight. But if you go round by round, it's a lot harder to to divvy out the points and all that stuff.
For sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's 25-minute fight. A lot was done, a lot was forgotten, a lot was, like it's a hard thing to remember that full fight, especially when you're just there watching it for the first time, 25 minutes. If you go back and watch that fight, I'm sure things are a little different. If you probably view it a little differently. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I think judging the whole fight maybe might be a little bit more beneficial towards me. Honestly, I feel like I do good in those
Mm.
type of fights.
We have a question from a Japanese fan on Twitter, Suroshi, and they want to know, since PFL doesn't have a bantamweight division, would you like for Rizin to become your main fighting organization?
I feel like I'm a prize fighter, no matter what, as long as I'm able to do mixed martial arts and I'm able to do what I truly love. It doesn't matter what organization, as long as I have the opportunity. I believe PFL will make a 135 division. They have to, like, going to. So either or, you know, I'm down for either. I would love to keep on coming back to Japan and competing and, you know, touching a new fan base, getting to know the culture of the Japanese people. I've heard great things, and you know, I'm very excited to come out there. My brother had a chance to compete out there a long time ago, and he was just telling me how honorable and how respectful all the fans are, and how the, you know, the streets are so clean compared to what we're used to in the United States. You know, it's a little crazy over here, but yeah, man. I mean, I'm down for whatever. I came into this sport initially, you know, thinking that I was going to be just a UFC fighter because that's where I started, and then, you know, the path kind of got in some twists and turns, and I like the twists and turns. It feels like a roller coaster ride. You know, I'm just putting my hands up and just enjoying it.
Yeah, actually, their second part of the question was, would you entertain a UFC going back to the UFC depending on the offer? Which you kind of just answered there is that you'll fight anywhere, anytime, basically.
For sure, man. I'm not an organization fighter. I'm not a UFC fighter. I'm not a Bellator fighter. I'm not a Rizin fighter. I'm not a PFL fighter. I'm Sergio Pettis. I'm a fighter, prize fighter, and whatever organization will show its opportunities for me, and whoever wants to break that bank, best believe I'm there, and I'm gonna put on a show.
Mm-hmm. Question though, are you a boxing fighter? Would you ever entertain possibly a boxing match with, I don't
Uh,
know, anybody?
you know, 100%. I'm actually glad you asked that. I've been actually itching for a boxing fight. You know, that's actually one of my favorite skill sets. I love boxing. That's what initially got me into it, was like boxing. I was just started off doing taekwondo. I got some cousins that done boxing, so yeah, I love boxing, man. I think that's something I would definitely entertain, and something that is definitely in my future as well.
Now, is there any names or anything that, yeah, any names that pop in mind who you think would be a good opponent for your boxing debut?
Man, anybody they give me, I see Jose Aldo's boxing. I know there's a couple of MMA fighters that are boxing, some guys that I wanted to compete against back in the days. And hey, man, if they want to go out there and throw hands, that's something I would love to do.
Hey, apparently, well, initially, I heard that Terry Crews was going to be fighting Anderson Silva. I don't know if you heard about that. So I don't know, but now he's apparently fighting Silva's fighting
Yeah.
Chael Sonnen. And if Crews needs an opponent, I know he's got maybe about 100 pounds in you. I don't know. Maybe you could sub
Hey,
yourself in there.
I'll fight Terry Crews, man. That'd be an honor. That guy is a funny dude. I've been watching him for years.
That's funny. That's funny. Um, and so we actually have another question from my co-host Jay Christian Gary. He wants to know what do you hope people will get out of seeing you fight in Rizin?
You know, what I want from this whole opportunity is just to touch a new fan base and to show the world my skill set. My last fight, I really didn't get to show all the things that I worked on. You know, obviously getting submitted in the second round, I didn't get to show, you know, everything else that I have in store and put in work in for these last couple of years. But I think this fight will give me the opportunity to do so, man. This opportunity makes me want to, you know, right when I got the call, I jumped out of my seat, like, what? Japan, Horiguchi again? Like, man, this is definitely something I'm down for, and yeah, I want the fans just to see, you know, who I truly am. I'm a martial artist. You know, I think a lot of people view me as just a fighter, but at the end of the day, I am a truly martial artist. I've been doing taekwondo since I was 5 years old. I'm very big in respect, honor, very big in you know, just having that dignity in yourself and being a true martial artist. So I want the world to see who I am.
Mhm. And after this fight, has how many more times you're hoping to fight overall this year before 20 before the end?
Ideally, I'd like to fight 3 times. I know it's kind of a little bit getting later in the year. You know, since my first fight will be in June, but if body willing and God willing, I come out clean, definitely would like to get back in there ASAP.
Gotcha, gotcha. Before we go, Sergio, I just want to give you an opportunity to plug your sponsors, gym or businesses or anything, anybody else you want to give a shout out to.
For sure. Big shout out to everybody over here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My gym, Rufus Sport, Pettis Martial Arts. Big thank you to Monster for being a supporter. Big shout out to Rizin, Bellator for making this fight happen. And Horiguchi, I'll see you soon, brother.
Great, great. And you can see Sergio Pettis take on Kyoji Horiguchi, Rizin 47, live on Rizin TV with English commentary. And Sergio, thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it. We'll get forward to the fight. It's definitely, you know, it's a rematch that I've been wanting to see for a long time. A lot of people have been wanting to see it for a long time, and I'm fine. I'm glad we're getting in Japan. That's why I'm very glad we're getting in Japan.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
Peace.